The Beak is easily one of my favorites of the entire show. Definitely somewhere in the top 25, possibly within the top 10, but I don't want to get too cocky yet. It's common enough that an average episode can give you something unexpected, but I don't think this one is really talked about nowadays. It has basically everything I could want out of a Phineas and Ferb joint. Great animation, greater music, fun premise, subversive execution, cogent character analysis. I guess it gets overshadowed by the episodes that dropped close to it, or maybe the time it dropped on its own was no good. Can't really tell you. But it's a crime, and we gotta go suss out the culprit. As a superhero parody, most of it is played straight, but the energy is certainly there. It's one of 4 episodes in total, directed by Swampy in some capacity, and it definitely hits different. There were some twists I was anticipating that they didn't take, presumably because they got too wrapped up in character drama to do so. Ben Stiller voices the most immaculate villain in this entire universe. Hamster and Gretel cannot top this man. Absolutely not. They will come close, though. His wife also got a role, and she's actually very important to the resolution, and it's so good. You have no idea. Easily one of the best guest appearances, hands down, point blank, period.
Planking is when you lay motionless like a plank, Phineas. It's really relaxing.
This guy is the source of most of the parodic elements present. Not only just the silliest part of this whole thing, but with plans and motivations that were handcrafted for a show like this. But it's not all about him. We learn a lot about our main players, Phineas, Candace, Ferb, Isabella. In addition to exploring their relationships to various superhero tropes, we learn about them individually to compound whatever is introduced. The Beak alone as an entity has just so many layers to it. Like usually when Phineas and Ferb get to work, they pitch in on a project that both of them can vibe with. The Beak suit was not explicitly unwanted, but it's only intensely personal to one of them. I'm sure you can guess who that would be.
What, you think we should have more Bulgarian folk-related elements? Oh, less. Less Bulgarian. Okay, wow, I thought we were on the same page, but no, it's cool, whatever.
I'm gonna assume that the Bulgarian folk dancing ability wasn't even included, but even then, this entire character screams Phineas. I've always kind of associated him with fish or birds, obviously, because if you look at him head on, it's his closest in proximity to those. And I mean, just aesthetically speaking, it seems to be a decent matchup, right? Apparently you would seem to agree, because he was just in love with this concept. Look what this man is doing up in the tree!
Ready, Ferb? Let's wing it!
This was made for him and him alone. But obviously Ferb is not really along for the ride in the same capacity. Both of them pilot the Beak, but he definitely can or does already do most of the work. He's hiding in the bottom half, doing all the legwork, and he is not acknowledged as one half of an entirely amazing superhero duo.
I guess there's no glory in thighs.
There's a few times where you can just catch him looking annoyed, like he already knows what's going on here. It's not intentional, his brother just gets wrapped up in dumb shit, but this is more than a little irritating. He has a lot of inventions named after him, but that's just a bonus. I mean, shouldn't he be able to enjoy the stuff that he built? All of this sounds even stupider when you realize that they just built this suit to test out their extremely dangerous skate track. They kind of just fell into superheroing when they saved Baljeet from falling out of a tree. The face of the Beak, he's having a little trouble coping with the ramifications of this new identity. It's common enough for both of them to LARP into a lot of roles, but the wider mechanics of the daily adventure doesn't usually resonate with either. Closest example that I could probably muster would be that sinking feeling, right? He's performing romance, but he's oblivious to the emotional complexity of the whole spiel. Isabella aside, he's just kind of floating in the wind, flying by the seat of his pants. He doesn't know what he's doing.
So, do I know romance or what?
What?
I said, do I know romance
I heard you.
Something like this is obviously a bit more understandable, but he's clearly uncomfortable with following through. Neither of them really want to do this, and the person that pushed them into it adds even more fuel to the fire. It's great.
Phineas, I'm back! Phineas? Ferb! Well, I guess there goes my early mid-morning edition story.
Isabella was placed into a specific dynamic after the Beak's christening. The very first time they do superhero shit, they end up ghosting her, and she's very upset. Unbeknownst to her, she kind of created this whole thing in the first place. A bit unexpected, but not too surprising. She takes it personally, or at least more so than we would usually expect. I mean, she's used to being treated as an equal to the boys. She's as valid a team member as anyone else. Yet at the height of a situation where, for all intents and purposes, the Avengers should assemble, half of them keep going missing, and they won't even say why. They are trying to keep her safe, but they can't even come up with a decent alibi. And when she tries to get a read on the situation, she's just rebuffed. Unintentionally rolled and smoked. That ear scratching really should have tipped her off. This might be the first time since they've known each other that he's, in her own words, let her down. Not being able to trust Phineas leaves her particularly vulnerable, which is how she ended up idolizing his alter ego. If there wasn't all this drama between these 10-year-olds going on, Candace would have easily stolen the show. This episode canonized her status as a level 37 comic book nerd way earlier than most would expect, and she uses her knowledge to the utmost advantage. She's on the warpath. She has a whole new energy dealing with these goofies. The calculated, controlled plan she implements doesn't lose steam. Even at her most desperate moments, she will literally put herself in mortal danger just so the Beak can take the bait. That's not even getting into the life and times of the Dangerous. This is peak fiction writing. Unlike her brother, she strives in the LARP. She makes it an extension of herself. It's so good. It's not a Candace episode, but it comes close enough to it. Doof and Roger's relationship is also explored, but the former's role reduces his involvement. Generally, there's a strong sense of one-sided animosity from Doof's corner. Roger is mostly indifferent, if not outright dismissive or condescending to his older brother. So when it was convenient to get out of Dodge, he was more than happy to assign Hines as his fall guy, playing into the latter's belief that he could easily command power just by faking it till you make it. The older of the two is stuck combing through a bunch of ordinances and stuff. The closest he gets to the action, the entire episode, is watching these two duke it out from his window. So instead of leaning towards or away from the LARP, he's pretty much a neutral party, which is kind of surprising for him.
Melanie, could you come in here?
That would be a bowl of mints.
I've got my finger in a bowl of mints?
Yes, you do.
Oh, well, that would explain why there's so many buttons.
It has top-tier comedy. It has dramatic intrigue. It has political scandal. Out of 104 days, the Beak almost certainly fits the bill.
And so, things pretty much worked out, I guess. Narrator guy is out. Peace!